It's a great day. My name is Jay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this particular episode, we have the one and only Julie. She's in the building, and she'll be talking about the power of always being ready for your next opportunity. We'll talk about what that's like. What's going on, Julie? How are you?
Hey there, doing so well. Thanks for having me here today.
Thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And folks may not have a chance to read your bio. We'll get into how famous you are in a few minutes, and they'll get to know that. Some folks have already been to your website. Some folks have read your bio. But for those folks that are watching right now and they're saying, wow, the power of always being ready, I'm curious, why are entrepreneurs or business owners struggling to be ready for their next opportunity, whether it's speaking or going after another deal? What's holding them back these days?
Yeah, I believe it's a few things. It's confidence. It's the story they're telling themselves about themselves. It is partially the content that they need to develop. And the next one is the capabilities that they need. They need to be developing some capabilities around what they're doing. And I call it the 3 C's of always being ready. And I think if you nail it down to those things, confidence, content, and capability, you'll find the answer of why they're not ready in those 3 words.
Well, let's talk about confidence if we can first. I think that's spot on, by the way. And we have 2 types of folks that's watching. So let's first talk to the individual that is very experienced, right? They've been in business for a number of years. They're used to, let's say, speaking on stage or speaking for their business. What's some of the things that they struggle with in the area of confidence, and how does your organization help them? And maybe it's the same for someone who's new. I don't know. We're going to find out in a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, people that have been doing this a long time, they hopefully have the right story they're telling themselves. And maybe it's a matter of them not really knowing where to do the speaking and to get themselves out there. And so it's just a matter of just keep doing it, even though it feels like, oh, why am I doing this again? There's always somebody to meet. There's always somebody to learn from. And I think it's an attitude of curiosity that they need to be staying in.
Yeah, I know one of the things that you focus on, which is really cool, by the way, is helping entrepreneurs be able to use speaking to really generate their business or get in front of more folks or generate leads. Here's the question. Public speaking is, like they say, I don't know if it's still true, but at least 1,000 years ago when I was a young man, it was like the #1 fear that most folks have. And for the entrepreneurs out there that it has a fear, and I like the confidence part, of speaking or selling who they are to other folks, what bit of advice would you recommend to them?
Yeah, it's just keep doing it. Do it scared, do it messy, do it imperfect. Just do it. And I think that, for a lot of us who have experience in performance, I have a background in singing and I was a songwriter and I sang at all these weddings. And really what I learned was the more I got on the stage, the easier it would get. And now as a business entrepreneur, what I realize is that if I keep doing it over and over and over again, it's going to get better. And so that's why podcasts are great. Have your podcast, get on podcasts, have your own podcast, use social media, but just speak all the time. And what's going to happen is you're going to get to a point where when someone calls you up, you'll just be ready. And that's what I tell people. It's like, just do the thing.
Just do the thing. And while she's talking, and don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't forgotten. We're going to let her tell her backstory in a moment. But we have a number of folks who are dualpreneurs, by the way, who watch this, by the way. They work a full-time job and they're a full-time entrepreneur. They're a full-time mom, could be a full-time dad, maybe a caregiver like I am. Some of them have kids. The kids have schedule. They're involved in their community. And somebody's watching saying, say, you didn't check off everything. I got more things on my list. My question is for them that are very busy. They're like, wow, she talked about you have to tell stories. I feel like although I'm doing a lot, I sound like everyone else. Talk about being able to tell your story, although you may feel like everyone else has the same story. Why is storytelling even more important now when they're speaking than ever before?
Yeah, and I think it's the idea that you need to grab somebody's attention, and you've heard this before. People will not remember what you said. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And so we want to get into a place where we're creating the feelings around what we're doing. And so this idea that we're authentic, that we're able to tell a story that connects. And so they need to see you, they need to see themselves in your story. And so I think that's the most important thing. If they can see themselves in your story, then they can make a connection to you. And you sprinkle on the authenticity as well. And it's this authentic experience that you're creating with people. It's that high energy that you want to bring to the moment. And I think that's what makes the connection.
Everyone's looking back behind your left hand shoulder and look at that instrument in the back and saying, Shay, she's going to play that today. No, don't worry. I won't ask her to do that. But, for those folks that don't know who you are, I know you're very famous. By the way, we had a chance to connect online, but there are a number of folks who are meeting you for the very first time. And they probably got a couple questions. Number one, Shay, who is this person? So you know the question already, Julie. Who are you? What's the backstory? And then she can handle it, ladies and gentlemen. What was that defining moment that led you to doing what you're doing now?
Oh, I love that. I love that question because it is my story. It is the story behind the story, the thing that makes me me. And it goes, there's a whole bunch of things, but I believe that everybody breaks twice in life. And when I was younger, I had a childhood illness that I had to kind of overcome. And I really didn't start learning as much as I needed to until I was in college. I did get to go to college, and it was like almost like in college it was the first time I was learning things because I had an issue, a health issue when I was young. And then fast forward a little bit more into it, I was married and I found myself right up against a very difficult situation in my marriage. And I found myself with a 9-month-old daughter and facing a divorce. And at that time, I was around 32 years old. My parents had moved to Florida. I lived in New Jersey, and I literally was by myself. The support system that I had raising my daughter was gone because my ex-husband's family was my support system after my parents left, and my husband was leaving me. And so I found myself in a very difficult situation. I'm like, "Oh my god, I wasn't planning on being a single mom. Like, where did this come from?" And so what happened was I had a very good job at the time. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I had the potential of a good job. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, the career that lasted me about a good 25 years almost. But during that time, I was able to go to a class called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I learned about beginning with the end in mind. And during this moment, I realized that although I had no control over everything, I was able to focus on the first habit, which is being proactive. Being proactive was the first one. Focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't control was the first one. And the second was beginning with the end in mind. And so during that beginning with the end in mind, I was able to really discover my purpose and really get down to the nitty gritty of what I wanted people to say at my 80th birthday party. And I learned that if I was going to go through this very bad experience, that I was going to help other people go through it as well, or help other people live their life that were struggling. And so that's where this all kind of came from.
Wow, congratulations, by the way. And now here you are helping other folks be authentic, speak from the heart, and be transparent at the same time, which is really amazing. As you were speaking, the question came up is, what's been one of the biggest struggles that you had as an entrepreneur? just getting going. And for those folks that are sitting at home, see, you're not alone. They're probably thinking, wow, she's famous. What was the biggest challenge for you to be able to step out and be an entrepreneur these days?
Oh my gosh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, so I was working in corporate America, had a very cushy job. I had the golden handcuffs. I worked in pharmaceutical in big pharma. And so you know how that goes. There's the big paychecks and the big the big jobs. Leaving that cushy job was very difficult, and I think that sometimes I still kind of say, am I still going to stay this am I still going to be doing this tomorrow? Because the hardest thing is getting clients, and the hardest thing is breaking through that fear barrier, that can I really make the money that I was making inside of my corporate job here? So it's very difficult. I think that's the biggest problem. The biggest challenge is sales, is understanding that you're no longer somebody who's being fed money, but you're the one having to go out there and find the money.
Yeah. And you talked about the three C's early on. There was confidence, there was competency, and what was the other one?
Content.
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 So
Developing the content, right?
yeah, the content. We'll get into that. And the question I have first, before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, then we'll get into a transition, but is you're able to do things, although it sounds like each time you were fearful. And I guess the question is, how are you able to take action even though there's a little fear there, right? Some people think they're mutually exclusive. Or once I'm not fearful, I'll be able to take action. But not you. There was some uncertainty, but you still took action. What really drove you to have that mindset to be able to take action, even in the result and the fear of not knowing what was going to happen on the other side? Because some people get paralyzed and they're always getting ready to get ready. And you're going to talk about that in a minute, but they're never ready.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think it's just this idea that this is what you were meant to do. And if you don't do it, there's going to be a regret or a what if statement. And I believe that I'm in the perfect flow state, that this is what I should be doing, and everything else just didn't work out. It was sort of awkward and uncomfortable, and this feels better. This feels like the right place to be. Even though it's hard, it feels like I'm on the right path, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, certainly makes sense. And now we get to the third C a little bit, which is around content. And folks struggle today to get the right content so they can be prepared to get on a stage. And I'm curious why people are struggling with content. You would think they could go to AI tomorrow, right? And say, well, I need some content. And it gives them something. They could look at Instagram tomorrow and get excited and maybe get some content. Yet they struggle every day to get content that resonates with them, speaks who they are, so they can go share that on a stage or to an audience. So here's the question. What's the biggest struggle folks have around content, and how does your organization help them with that?
Yeah, and I think that's just this ability to understand who you are. Understanding who you are is everything. Understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and really leaning into discovering yourself and what your message is to the world. What is it that you're teaching? What did you learn in your life that is going to help people live their life? And I think for me, it's very interesting because I did write a book, and I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer, but I have a book and I'm writing my second book. And the thing that I did do in my corporate job is I was a trainer and I developed training programs. So I do have like a little bit of an edge because I have a lot of content that I've created. But it's just a matter of sitting with your ideas, sitting with your content, being a content creator. And part of that is being a small business owner is being a content creator. And I was listening to somebody talk about this today, is that when we think about it today, in this day of 2024, we are really content or media. We're all media companies. That's what he said. He's like, even if you're a furniture company, you're a media company. Even if you're a coach, you're a media company. The truth is we have to get our content out into the world, because otherwise people won't know who we are. And they won't know our authentic abilities or what is the experience that we're creating with people. And so it's about us going out with content, our ideas. What is that thing that you were able to solve in your life, and creating the content around that in a new, fresh way that people are going to receive it.
I love it, by the way, spot on. And it leads us to a segment that we have here, by the way, that's called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know exactly what we're going to do. In fact, you can go ahead and say those words. You might wait to say those words every night, and you can say them. Today is my January 1st. I want to say Happy New Year to you, by the way. And for all the new folks who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show family. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra here. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Julie on the other side is really two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? What do you hear? And secondly, what was another setback you had? You shared some already that you had in your life, and how did you bounce back from it?
Yeah. Well, today was my January 1st. I love that. I love that because every January 1st or right before that, I get really serious about journaling. I'm a journal writer, and I do a lot of journaling around what do I want to have happen in the new year. So I'm ready for the new year. I usually have my mission statement updated for the new year, and it's amazing how, as you become intentional about writing down what you want for the new year, how the things actually happen. So I'm really excited about that question. Thank you for asking me that. And I get excited about the new year because it is a new, fresh start. So I love that. And then what is another setback? I think failing at my last corporate job. I had a really, I don't want to call it failing because it brought me to this place right here, right now. But I did have a situation at one of my last jobs where I was really in a bad place. I had been working my whole life to get up to director at one of these companies I worked at. And I did get to that director level position and realized that through a bunch of different circumstances, I was no longer going to be a director at that company. And it really threw me off because when you work for something for so long and realize that it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, it's kind of a blow to your ego. It's a blow to all of your dreams and aspirations. And it's really about what did I do to recreate myself? And so I did recreate myself, and here I am. This is the recreation of me. And I got to write a book, do a TED Talk, do the podcast. I'm now working with leaders and CEOs of companies and helping them grow and build their companies. And it's super exciting to be in this place.
Well, congratulations. I'm really excited. You saved the best for last. Here you are with us. So I'm glad you're here right now, by the way. It leads us to question that I love to ask when we have time. We have some time now. And that is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience so they understand. I'm not actually come off the mountain with the 10 commandments here. Understand you read more books than you could probably remember these days. Watch probably more videos and trainings than, I don't even count the number of hours anymore. You had probably countless mentors. But if you had to step back for a moment and say, on this journey, here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given that you want to share with the audience. What is it and why?
Ooh, that's a hard one. What's the best piece of advice? My father is probably the guy that I have to go to. My father used to say to me, don't take yourself too seriously. Have a little fun in life because life is a series of ups and downs, and you're going to fall down. And after you fall down 7 times, you're going to get back up 8 times. And you're not going to take yourself too seriously and have fun on the journey. And I think that's the thing, is that we have to remember we're on a journey. We're not going towards a destination. And if we could just enjoy the journey, the answer is there.
I love it. Shout out to your dad, by the way. what does success look like for you these days? I mean, it means different things to different people at different stages, but where you are today, what does success look like and what does it feel like for you?
Well, part of me wants to say when I look at my bank account, it's filled with money and money to spend. That's what I want to say, sort of, but that's not really what I want to say. My success is watching people grow and develop. My success is when I work with somebody and they have an aha moment that brings them to their next level of success. I truly get joy and fulfillment watching other people succeed. And so I love to help people remove the mindset roadblocks. I love helping them get the tool sets that they need and really the skill sets to reach that next level of success, because I want everybody to experience fulfilling their purpose. And I think that is my purpose in life. Like, I know that's my purpose in life. My purpose is to help people realize and fulfill their purpose. And so, whatever I need to do in service to that gets me like so excited.
I love that. And on the journey, help people be ready for the next stage or be ready for the next opportunity. For those folks that are going through transitions like you've gone through, does your organization also help them with kind of discovering or rediscovering their purpose? Because it could maybe change, I'm guessing, over time.
Absolutely. I do a lot of work, one on one work with people in discovering their purpose and really getting down to the what, the why, the how, all of it. And then I help them actually facilitate their purpose and figure out how to make that idea or that dream come to life. I sit in a lot of different spaces. I've been a coach for many years, and I can help them from discovering themselves all the way out into execution of the idea, and really be a partner to them. I love partnering up with CEOs and entrepreneurs to help them fulfill whatever it is they want to fulfill in their business.
I love it because you often hear purpose, help them discover their purpose, and they also say make sure you're passionate about it. And it sounds like you're able to connect the two the way I just heard it, which is really amazing. It gives that excitement. This is really cool. Last, as we coming down the home stretch in a few minutes here, but what do you enjoy most about what you're doing? I mean, you mentioned some things that lit you up, and I saw you light up when you talked about helping people and being there for them. What are you enjoying about it? Because it sounds like that's giving you that lot of energy there.
Yeah, I love the aha. I get excitement when people have an aha. And I frame it out like that. Like, we're here for you to get an aha moment and for you to take something away from the time that we have together. So I get excited about the aha. That is what I live for. I know it sounds kind of corny, but that's what I get excited about.
I love it. As we come down the home stretch, well, first before I do that, what do you do for fun? I mean, I know you play the music, and I'm not gonna ask you to grab the guitar in the back. They were all being nosy, so she talked about that earlier in the segment. But what do you do for fun these days when you're not out saving the world, helping people get ready to be on the stage, teaching them how to leave and find their purpose and passion? What do you do for fun?
That's interesting. What do I do for fun? Well, I moved to Florida and I'm having fun here. So I really do I really do enjoy my life. I have one of those lives right now that I don't really want to take a vacation from, because I live in paradise. So where am I going? I mean, I have a pool and palm trees. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get it better than that. Like, I take a walk in the morning, I have a pool outside. For fun, I'm laying in the pool. I have a raft. I lay down in the pool and I kind of like unwind. I have a daughter and a husband and a mother here, so I spend a lot of time with my family and just really focusing on some creative endeavors like writing my next book. I mean, I don't have to write a book, but I am writing a book. And so for me, I'm a creative. And so whatever I am doing to create is fun for me. Even if I'm making a meal, that's a creation.
That's cool stuff. And we're all being nosy on your left hand side behind your shoulder. They're trying to read what's the quote back there. And it's saying, Shay, you can't let her go without telling her what's the significant. It says something about your journey. There was a time I could read that. There was a time, there was a time. I got to find my glasses. But
I mean,
does that say trust your journey?
Trust your journey. Trust your journey. Yes.
It's back there. What's the significance to you about that? I love that, by the way.
Well, I mean, the whole point is that, remember, it's not a destination that
Yeah.
we're looking for. We're looking to enjoy the journey. Everything is happening in the present moment. And so there's no future, there's no past. We are here right now, and I think we forget to kind of enjoy the moment or be in the moment, and just knowing that it's a journey. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and that's just part of the road show. That's part of the show. And I think people forget that we are not guaranteed a straight road. It's not going to be a straight road. It's going to be a road with twists and turns and ups and downs. And if we could just kind of normalize the fact that life is going to be bumpy, I think that would help us prepare for that journey. We'd be ready.
I love that, by the way. Enjoy and trust the journey. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. Number one, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if you're taking on any clients. And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time you and I have now?
Great. JulieRiga.com is where to find me. I work with CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, helping them realize their next level of success. I work with people that are transitioning from corporate into entrepreneurship. I work with also people that are looking to scale their businesses and build their leadership team. I spend a lot of time helping leadership teams scale and get ready for their next opportunity. So the leadership team grows and the CEO can start really focusing on working on building the business rather than working in the business.
That's really cool, by the way. Thanks for sharing. And give us the website or how they can connect with you one more time.
Yeah, sure. Julie Riga, RIGA.com. JulieRiga.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Julie Riga.
Cool. Fantastic. And what's the name of your podcast? I can't let you go without saying the name of your podcast, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So it's Stay on Course, Ingredients for Success.
I love it, by the way. With that being said, thanks so much for being on the show, Julie. I appreciate it. Can't wait to connect with you again soon.
Thank you.
And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we don't have a show. So we appreciate it when you're here, appreciate it when you show up. And it's no matter what platform you're watching, if you're on one of those platforms, you can hit the share button. It's cool we hit the like button, but hit the share button. If you can pay this forward to another community, thank you so much. That means something. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you're someone special, that you're a unique individual with a special gift to make a difference in the world. That's no hyperbole. That's no fluffy stuff. It's the truth. And no matter what you're going through right now, whether life is doing really, really well and you're stretching for that next level, or you've been hit with the punch you never saw coming, one thing I do know is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name hasn't changed. It's still Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. We'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Peace. We out. So long, Julie. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.